What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And now that the Rings of Power has dropped its final episode, episode 8 is in the books, season 1 is in the books, everybody's kind of figuring out, hey, did we do it, right? Is this a success or is it a failure? As IndieWire asks here, is the Rings of Power a huge hit, a muted flop? It's complicated. No, it's not really complicated at all, okay? It's actually very, very straightforward and it's very easy to figure out. Now, it says there, and you can read this information on IndieWire.com. So it says, data says the Rings of Power is a huge hit. Online buzz suggests otherwise, but there's no mystery to the divergent. The show was made this way. Let's go ahead and just take a quick look at what it's talking about. Modern television, where what looks like a hit may just be popular on Twitter, and what reads like a dud might be the network's most watched series of all time. Few programs can dance at each end of the spectrum, representing both unprecedented success and deafening failure, but if anything could, it's Lord of the Rings of Power. Amazon Prime's billion-dollar franchise grab wrapped its first season on Friday, October 14, but it would be a stretch the length of this title to say we understand the show better now than we did at launch. Contradictions abound, and it goes to all these various little contradictions. Judgments aside, the most polarizing verdict circling season 1 is simply whether or not it's a success. Okay, so how do we measure success? Do we measure it by a bunch of doctored up numbers that Amazon is just foisting on us, right? Doctored up ratings. Oh, we're going to hide some of these negative ratings and negative comments and opinions about the show. We're going to hide those. We're going to let some other stuff come through. Is that how we figure out what's good, what's bad? You see all of the current buzz that's going around about how they might actually be falsifying the numbers by making people click on this particular episode 8 twice in order to finish watching it. Okay, I can't say that happened in my particular experience of watching episode 8. I'll be honest with you, I just kind of let it play and nothing really happened on my end. So maybe that was happening for some, not for everybody. A lot of people are reporting that, yeah, they're trying to doctor up numbers. They're trying to basically force this show to be a success, which we knew they would do, right? But here's the thing. Here's how you determine if something is successful, okay? What was it that they were trying to accomplish? Did they just simply want to have a show that everybody looked at? No, that's not what they wanted. What was the edict from Jeff Bezos? And this is an article, again, you can check it out on Variety, September 8, 2017. Jeff Bezos mandates programming shift at Amazon Studios. What's the first line in this particular article? The mandate from Bezos is clear. Bring me Game of Thrones. Jeff Bezos wanted his very own Game of Thrones. That's why this show exists at all. And that's why they spent that $250 million to buy the rights from the Tolkien estate. That's why they spent nearly $1 billion to produce 2 seasons of this trash. They wanted Game of Thrones. That's what Bezos said, okay? He wanted his very own Game of Thrones. And so a lot of comparisons, which the Rings of Power people were wringing their hands over, saying, oh, it's not fair that they're comparing us to House of the Dragon. Hey, Jeff Bezos is the one that wanted his own Game of Thrones. That's why you guys even made the show, okay? So the comparisons are apt and they're absolutely legitimate. And this particular article on Insider kind of talks about who's watching each show, right? Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I did want to kind of highlight a couple of pieces, right? 68% of the audience for House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel, is concentrated in the 18 to 49 age group, according to Nielsen. But the Rings of Power is struggling to attract younger viewers. It leans older, with 71% of its audience over the age of 35. So you can see right there that's going to be a big issue, because the people that watch television the most are the younger crowds, right? It's like the teenagers all the way up. That's why that 18 to 35 demographic is huge, okay? Because that's the people that are going to spend money to watch your show. They're going to be online talking about it. That's the online buzz that Jeff Bezos wanted, okay? Because when he wants his own Game of Thrones, he just doesn't want some show that's set in a fantasy world or whatever. That's not what the man wanted. He wanted the same kind of online buzz, that water cooler talk. He wanted that kind of show for Amazon, okay? Because let's face it, everybody was talking about Game of Thrones when it was out. That's what Bezos wanted. He didn't just want a show to hit some artificial numbers. Nobody cares about that, all right? You can always doctor up statistics, but what you can't doctor up is online buzz, okay? That kind of grassroots, organic kind of buzz that just comes from people enjoying the hell out of your show, that's what he wanted, all right? Because House of the Dragon and the Rings of Power both came out at the same exact time, right? We can actually see how they compared and contrasted against each other, right? You say, well, how are you going to do that? with Google Trends. Now, this is Google Trends, trending searches, right? If you've never been on here, it kind of gives you a rundown of what people are searching for on Google. You can see right now, based on the Monday Night Football game, there's been Denver Broncos, you got the Twins, you got Minnesota United, you got Dancing with Stars, you got stuff that's currently really trending right now. People are doing a lot of searches for it, okay? So you can hit this little magnifying glass here, and you can say, all right, let's search. Let's see what House of the Dragon has been doing. All right, so that's the search term, House of the Dragon. All right, so how's it looking? Well, actually, let's do this. Let's bring it back to the day that House of the Dragon debuted. So we're going to do a custom, and we'll go back to what? August, right? The 21st. That's the day that the show came out. And we'll say all the way through our current day, October 17. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. All right, so you can see interest over time. 100 is like the highest you get, right? You know, it's like everybody's checking it out, okay? And that was August the 22nd of, 2022, the day after the show came out. That's when it was at its highest, okay? So let's do a comparison. Let's type in Rings of Power. All right, so you can see the same thing here. That red line represents Rings of Power. Now, what do you notice about that red line? It gets high at the first, at the very beginning when it first came out, right? Day after, remember, it dropped September 1st. So you can see September 1st, that's where it was, slightly above House of the Dragons. Then September 2nd, it really shot up, right? September 2nd, that was its best day, all right? Even September 3rd, it's 2 episodes dropped at the same time. So people maybe caught it 2 episodes, and that was it. It never got up to that high again, all right? It's always been kind of down here, right here in this range, okay? And the same thing with House of the Dragon. It never got up to this level again, but you can see it always maintained a big, healthy lead, right? A nice, healthy lead. The only time that the Rings of Power ever surpassed House of the Dragon on the days after it released or after it came out, you can see those Fridays and Saturdays. That's when the shift changed. Other than that, yeah, House of the Dragon always had higher numbers, better, more searches, basically. It was always leading the pack, okay? It was always leading the pack. Did Bezos get what he wanted? His very own Game of Thrones, something that was creating the same level of buzz, interest, and etc. as a Game of Thrones type show, okay? And it's clear he wasn't, all right? It's clear he wasn't. And House of the Dragon absolutely destroyed it. Absolutely. It was more talked about. You know this. You know this just by going online, going on Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere you're going. You can see the buzz for this show was always more than the Rings of Power. Amazon's The Rings of Power is a bona fide hit. Why doesn't it feel like it? Yeah, like even the LA Times had to say, hey, we see the numbers. We can see we can see what's going on, right? But we don't know. It doesn't feel like a hit. And this article kind of goes into how everybody's, oh yeah, it's a bona fide hit. People are loving it. And it goes through, carefully curated, comments from different types of people, okay? But it says here, these numbers paint an incomplete picture. There's generally no way to verify a streamer's viewership numbers even after they are released. And Nielsen's streaming ranking counts minutes streamed only on US TVs, meaning viewership on other devices, traditional linear TVs, and the global audience are not included. That The Rings of Power is a hit is not up for debate, but how big of a hit and what even makes a hit in such a crowded entertainment landscape is harder to pinpoint. In particular, the always elusive water cooler hit that drives in-person and online conversation has been increasingly hard to predict, much less cultivate, as the number of TV series and platforms has proliferated and the entertainment audience has fragmented into smaller and smaller pieces, blah, 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 blah. But we just saw it, okay? We just saw it. You can see which show is cared about more, okay? Which show is creating more interest online, just from the search terms alone, okay? You can see which one fits the bill and which one doesn't. And the reason that this show was not a success is because of the people who ran it. Look at this. This is just an aside. But look at this headline. The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power showrunners reveal details of their canceled Star Trek 4 script. This film would have been like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in space? These guys don't need to be anywhere close to any franchise. They need to go and make their own crap and make that successful, okay? Because they just can't get the job done. But let me show you the stuff that I was looking at a little bit earlier today. I had saw this online where it said the show creators worked with the Tolkien estate to condense the timeline. So look at this. In the original Lord of the Rings, the Second Age lasted for thousands of years. That would have been difficult to bring into the show. since it would mean all the humans would die off, leaving only the same elven characters over the course of the series. Production worked with the Tolkien estate to shorten the timeline so that viewers can stay emotionally invested in the characters. You see what I'm talking about? You see this shit? You see this? Okay. These guys are so talented. It's like, oh, it would have been, what did they say? Difficult. Oh, it's difficult to bring this type of stuff into the show. Yeah, writing is difficult. It's not easy, okay? And I can imagine adapting Tolkien, man, you got to be very, very careful with it. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. But if it's too hard to do, you don't do it, okay? Say, well, you know, I'm not up to the task. My writing is not where it needs to be. Go ahead and get some other guys to do this, okay? I'm not up to the task for this job. But they went ahead and did it anyway because, well, you know, what we'll do is we'll just, you know, shorten the timeline so that the viewers can be, what? Emotionally invested. I don't think anybody's been emotionally invested in any of the characters that they've been seeing on screen at all. It's really funny when you sit back and think about how lacking in investment people are with these characters. Right? Like nobody likes Galadriel. People like literally do not like this character, this woman at all. They call her an insufferable teenager. Okay. People are disgusted with this particular character. This is the person that oh, well, you know, we got to make them emotionally invested and all that. This is absolutely crazy. Right? And they say, oh, you know, we only had elven characters over the course of the series. Well, I mean, if that's what you had to do, that's what you had to do. Like, did they think that they needed humans in the show and they couldn't just do a show with mostly elven characters throughout? Is that what they thought? Like, good characters are good characters, folks. Okay, if you know how to write a character, you'll be emotionally invested in the characters if it's done right. I mean, look at James Gunn, man. This guy has made people care about a talking tree. He's made people care about a talking raccoon. He made people care about a damn starfish, a giant starfish. Starro was on screen for like 5 seconds. And he made people actually say, man, I can feel Starro when he said, hey, all I was doing is just staring in the sky, watching the stars. I was happy. And people felt that. You know what I'm saying? They had an emotional attachment to what he was saying. This Galadriel chick, nobody can connect to her. All right? Like I said before, every weekend, this chick is trending on Twitter for all the wrong reasons. How people just cannot stand this character. You think about House of the Dragon over there, where you had a character like Viserys, right? Who people didn't really like at first. But then as the season goes on and grows on, you get attached to him. You start to like him. And then by the time you get to episode 8 and that final walk, man, there are people online. You can see them crying. People are in tears, man. That's how you get an emotional. How many people were in tears at any point in time with this show? Even freaking Lady Lena, who got burnt up, like in the one episode that the adult actress was there, they burnt her up and that was it. And people have more of an emotional attachment to Lady Lena than they have to anybody in this freaking show. That tells you everything you need to know, folks. Everything you need to know. These guys have bungled it. House of Dragon has absolutely ran circles around this particular show, and it's not even close. But anyway, folks, I thought those numbers was real interesting. And when you're trying to figure out if Rings of Power was a success or not, you know, when you compare it to what it was supposed to be, you know, again, a Game of Thrones type show that creates that water cooler talk, that creates that online buzz, you can see how it did against its competitor, and it doesn't look good. Anyway, go ahead and leave me your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.